great pleasure to hear from some of the leadership and leading minds of our nonprofit community and public agencies about examining some of the most pressing issues that face public and private service providers today, and to look at how to develop strategies to help us address the urgent needs that we find out there. You are the people who are on that front line. You deliver the services and assistance on which so many individuals and so many families truly depend for their lives in so many instances. As a member of the Congress, I want you to know how much I appreciate what you do, but it's more than just feeling your pain. What I want to do is work with you so that we can figure out the ways in which we want to try to help get accomplished what we can do and move together as a strong coalition in order to get from the federal government every single thing that we can in order to help to try to make a difference in people's lives. That's where this grant process comes in. You know, I must say that for a long time the federal government has been a partner with so many of our nation's nonprofits. There's always been an understanding that those in our communities, those feeding, housing, and clothing families, moving people toward self-sufficiency, providing other needed services, are doing the kinds of work that in fact deserve federal support. It is about that partnership. It is about the shared responsibility and obligation of government and moral responsibility to engage with you on what is going on. And that grant process is in fact a nexus between the federal government and those like yourselves who are on that front line. Yet today we find ourselves in the midst of an extraordinarily challenging time, a time which inside a little over 5 years we have moved from a $5.6 billion projected budget surplus to where we are now in terms of a $3.5 trillion deficit. It's a fiscal turnaround of around $9 trillion. That in turn, I mean, you need to be mindful of that because that's the 800-pound gorilla that is on the table here. So that's impacted our capacity from the federal level to tackle our toughest challenges in our communities, everything from the ability to care for the disabled, provide health care for families, to ensuring law enforcement has the resources that it needs to protect our neighborhoods. And that is happening at a time when there are so many pressures on people in our communities, and those pressures continue to grow. They're facing the rising costs of health care, energy, child care, college tuition. We have a housing crisis that has been escalating for years. And Bill has over and over again expressed to me the sense of helplessness that he feels when people call and they talk about housing, and there's nowhere to direct them, nowhere for them to turn. Crime and substance abuse problems are not going away. They require significant resources to meet our community needs. Government infrastructure, roads, sewer systems, building renovations, child protection staffing needs still faces serious challenges. For our state, the results have been clear. The income gap in Connecticut is widening, with the top 20% of Connecticut families having annual income 9 times that of the bottom 20%. The third largest gap in the United States. We have over 2/3 of low-income working families spending more than 1/3 of their income on housing. Again, ranking us third to last in the nation. And when the nation has replaced the jobs lost in the 2001 recession, Connecticut still has an estimated 31,000 jobs lost that have not yet been replaced. These are issues that we need to start to confront as a state, as a country, as those who see the consequences of these choices day in and day out. You understand these facts better than anyone. And that's why we wanted to hold this forum with a particular focus, as a way of trying to work with you and try to provide you with some tools to transcend this current funding dynamic. We may have less federal funds to work with than we have in the past, but that is only part of the picture. I believe there are still opportunities from the federal, state, and local levels, but seizing them is a matter of knowing the process, how you can make it work for your organization and for the people that you serve. And so with the forum, we want to help you look for those new avenues of funding opportunities, new resources, new fundraising strategies, as well as assisting you with navigating the process, which can be very daunting. If you don't have the staff know-how, and if you don't have the resources, and what we don't want you to do is to wring your hands and give up. Folks in this room never give up, but you always get frustrated as to how, in fact, can you get those very precious dollars that you need to do your job. We have the first panel, which will be dedicated to finding new funding, to helping you discover what sources of funding are out there, what you can do to secure them. The second panel will be dedicated to capacity building, which is perhaps one of the most important aspects in securing the stable funding sources. It's critical to show those who are willing to contract with you that your organization has that capability to deliver, to follow through on that grant proposal, no matter how good it is. They want to know if you're going to be able to sustain it after that. For instance, sometimes we look at our various nonprofit organizations and if you're struggle for funding, we lose sight of the big picture. At the same time, the nonprofit organizations offering that wide range of human services, housing, and other programs competing for government and community and foundation funding as well as the corporate and individual donations. We sometimes forget how important those long-term relationships are and those building pieces that can be a part of effective collaboration and cooperation between organizations and agencies. So I hope that you will find the meeting helpful to helping to meet your needs. I will not be here for the duration, and my apologies to Will and to Julie, but Bill will be here throughout the entire time. And let me just conclude by saying this, and I mean this very, very sincerely. You are the glue that holds our communities together. I really mean that from the depths of my soul. We can be involved where we are at local, state, and federal level. But you get up every single day looking at the mission that you have and trying to figure out how to make it happen, how to make that difference in people's lives. You are true advocates of the common good. And that whole notion of the common good today is not part of our public discourse. We need to get back to that, and as I said before, that sense that there is shared responsibility in our communities for what's going on. And the challenges that people face in their lives, while resources are not unlimited, that government, whether it be local, state, or federal, has that obligation to partner with you in order to be able to get things done. You're here for all of us. There's so much at stake for our neighborhoods and towns. We need to be here for all of you. It's simple, more complex than carrying it out, but I pledge to you my continued commitment, as I said, to get every dollar we can from the federal government in order to carry out your mission. Thank you for being here, and thank you for helping me.
And greetings from the State Coordinator for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.